Hi everyone, this is Shampriti here from Ecotels. In this video, I will cover some important topics of microeconomics relevant for UGC NET. Note that this video will not cover the topics exhaustively. To dig deeper, resort to textbooks. Please treat this video as a supplementary resource. We will start with one of the most common topics in economics, elasticity. Elasticity of demand. If nothing is specified, we generally assume that elasticity is the elasticity of demand. So by elasticity, we generally mean demand elasticity. So the main factors affecting demand for a good also affects the elasticity of demand. The main factors that affect demand for a good are price, income and other related goods. Accordingly, we have three types of demand elasticity: price elasticity, income elasticity and cross price elasticity. The concept of elasticity was first introduced by Marshall. By elasticity, we generally mean responsiveness. Now we study the price elasticity of demand in detail. It gives a degree of responsiveness of the quantity demanded due to a unit change in price. That is, it shows by how much the quantity demanded of a good increases or decreases depending on an unit increase of the increase and decrease of the price of the respective good. Now it is given by the ratio between the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. Notice that there is a negative sign in front of the ratio. It is negative since a change in price will always lead to a change in quantity demanded in the opposite direction. That is, when price increases, the quantity demanded of a good falls and vice versa. That is the reason the demand curve slopes down. Now notice one thing, the elasticity measure is unit free. This is very important as it allows us to compare different scenarios. When we say that a good is more elastic, we mean that the degree of responsiveness of that good due to a unit change in price is higher. So the elasticity is small or big depends on the change in quantity. If the change in quantity demanded is higher due to a unit change in price, then that good is said to be more elastic. Now consider the two figures, figure A and figure B. Here there are two demand curves and the price of the good has decreased from P1 to P2 by the same unit. We see that in figure A, the quantity demanded increases by a greater extent than that in figure B. So we can say that demand curve for figure A is more elastic than the demand curve for figure B. Degree of price elasticity of demand. We saw that the price elasticity can be measured by percentage change in quantity divided by the percentage change in price. Now numerically, the value of elasticity can range from 0 to infinity. When the price elasticity is equal to 0, then we say that the good is perfectly inelastic. That is, the quantity demanded of the good is totally unresponsive to the change in price of that good. This case is depicted in figure C, where we see that the demand curve becomes vertical. Similarly, we have the case of perfectly elastic goods, where we have the price elasticity equal to infinity. This is shown in figure E, where the demand curve becomes horizontal and a small change in price results in huge fluctuations in the quantity demanded of the good. Generally, we do not have constant price elasticity of demand along a demand curve. However, if the demand curve is a rectangular hyperbola, in that case we will have a constant elasticity of demand throughout, and the elasticity will be equal to 1. Elasticity tends to be higher in case of luxury goods and lower in case of necessary goods. Next, we study the relationship between total expenditure and price elasticity. The total expenditure is the amount of money spent on the quantity of goods bought. So total expenditure equal to price into quantity. From the figure we can see that the price is given by OP1 and the quantity is given by OQ1. So the total expenditure equals OP1 into OQ1. The total expenditure increases or decreases along with price increase or decrease. The amount of increase or the amount of decrease is determined by the elasticity of demand. In the corresponding figure E, we see that the price decreases from P1 to P2 and the quantity increases from Q1 to Q2. So to determine by how much the total expenditure has changed, we have to determine the change in the value of this rectangle compared to the change in value of this rectangle. When the price elasticity is equal to 1, we see that the total expenditure remains constant with the increase or decrease of prices. This happens because When the price elasticity is equal to 1, the percentage change in quantity moves proportionately to the percentage change in price. Now when the price elasticity is greater than 1, the percentage change in quantity demanded moves in greater proportion to the percentage change in price. So that's why the total expenditure will rise with the decrease in prices and fall with the increase in price. For the case where elasticity of price is less than 1, we will see that total expenditure will fall with the decrease in price and rise with the increase in price. Elasticity along a demand curve. We saw that the numerical value of elasticity can range from 0 to infinity. The value of elasticity is not constant along a demand curve. In the middle point C, we will see that the elasticity is equal to 1. In the portion above C, we will have the price elasticity greater than 1, and in the portion below C, we will have the price elasticity less than 1. Why this happens will be explained in the next video when we study how elasticity is measured. Next, we clarify some important issues related to the concept of elasticity. First, we need to understand that the slope and elasticity are not the same thing. The slope of a demand curve is the ratio of the change in price to the change in quantity between 2 points on the curve. Whereas the price elasticity of demand is the ratio of the percentage change in quantity demanded to the percentage change in price. So slope and elasticity are two very different concepts. In the adjacent figure below, we see that the demand curves CA and CB have the same elasticity but the different slope at a given price. Elasticities for demand curves with same slope. For two linear demand curves having the same slope, we will see that at a particular price P, the demand curve which is farther from the origin is less elastic than the one which is closer to the origin. That is, in the adjacent figure H, we will see that the demand curve CD will be less elastic than the demand curve AB. Intersecting demand curves. For two demand curves which intersect at a particular point, the one with the higher slope is the curve which is less elastic. So in the adjacent figure I, we see that the two demand curves intersect each other at the point E. The slope of the line DD is higher than the slope of the line D prime D prime. So we can say that the demand for DD is less elastic than the demand for D prime D prime. So in this video, we studied the important concept of elasticity. We learned what elasticity is, how it is measured, and how it changes along a demand curve. We also studied how total expenditure changes depending on the price elasticity of demand. Moreover, we also clarified some important concepts related to elasticity, like how the slope of a demand curve and elasticity of a demand curve are two very different concepts. Finally, we concluded this video with some important examples and features of elasticity, like two intersecting demand curves and elasticities of demand curve with same slope. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to Ecotels for more updates. Feel free to give any suggestions or queries. Thank you.